unbelievable.
It's great.
I feel so bad. You get a new stadium, and nobody can go to it in L.A. And L.A. is very restrictive compared to other states. Like, it's like beyond restrictive.
No, it's specifically just Los Angeles, too. Like, not even
Orange County. Right, just L.A. County.
We are the only place on Earth, well, not on Earth, in America where COVID still exists. So Baker Mayfield is coming off his best game of the season, throwing over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in the win over the Titans.
Yeah.
And the Browns GM, Andrew Berry, was very impressed with the growth that he has shown in his third NFL season.
I think Baker deserves a lot of credit in terms of how he's approached this year. I don't know that the challenge of going into a third offensive system, no offseason, can be appreciated enough externally. That's no easy task for any player, let alone a young quarterback. I think everyone can see his growth really from quarter to quarter to quarter over the course of the season. And he certainly deserves a lot of credit for the work that he's put in.
Yeah, no, I think he does. I totally agree. Now, it does help. I think their offensive line right now this morning is the best in the NFL, and I don't think it's really arguable. So, not taken away, but that is a huge part of this league. When Dak came into this league as a rookie, and that Cowboys had the best O-line in the league by a long shot, he went 13-3. When you can't get to the quarterback.
And Zeke looked different as well.
Yeah, Zeke looks really average right now.
Well, I mean, when you look around the league, who are quarterbacks that you think could make it work with just an average offensive line? I think Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he would still not have the numbers he's having now.
I think Russell Wilson is doing it with an average O-line.
Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, they would just have to rely on the running game more.
Aaron Rodgers has a quick release, so he would do okay.
But he doesn't like to get hit, though.
Josh Allen for Buffalo.
Yes.
But
so there's only a handful of guys that really, if you don't have a solid offensive line, are not going to be able to do what they do.
It unravels almost everybody.
Right. So, there's a lot of factors. And similarly, Carson Wentz, that's a factor in what's going on with Carson Wentz as well, which is why, his teammates are coming out saying it's not all him. But you do still have to go out there and perform, and Baker is doing that. Not only has he done everything that they've asked him to do, he did show in that last game that he's able to throw the ball still if they need him to do that as well, and that's what you want to be. You want to be a team that can win multiple ways. The Titans are a good team. They're very inconsistent, but they are still a good team, and that was the best win that they've had. They should be thrilled with where they are. They're 9-3. They are a good team. I'm not going to put them at great yet. They're second in the AFC North, obviously, to the Steelers.
If they beat the Ravens this weekend,
it's a Monday night game. That's a great Monday night game.
You start getting to a point where you start. I'm going to do my Super Bowl bubble before the end of the hour. I got 6 teams in it. I'm just saying, you're getting close. That's all I'm saying. That's all the tease I'm giving.
Browns in the Super Bowl bubble?
Never happened on the show. They've never even been on the periphery of the Super Bowl
They've
bubble.
been on the outside of the bubble. So the Saints have won all 3 games that Taysom Hill has started this season, and that's gone a long way towards the quarterback solidifying his future with the franchise. According to Jeff Duncan of The Athletic, his performance has bolstered a team's confidence in Hill as the eventual heir to Drew Brees' job.
Wow. Well, I get, it's just... Okay, ask yourself this. So Taysom Hill is doing what Teddy Bridgewater did. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're both winning, right?
But they do not look the same.
They don't. They're different players. But if Drew would have retired this year and Teddy would have been the starter, I would have been like, yeah, I thought Teddy had like a 5-team market. I would have been like, yeah, next 2 years with Teddy and Peyton. If he starts winning the next 2 games, you get to a point where you think to yourself, you can probably go a year or 2 with Taysom Hill. I'm not saying 9 years.
Yeah, I don't think this is a so I guess you look too much, I think, into the wording of it, like the future of the franchise.
Right.
He's not the future of the franchise, but for the next 3 years, sure, why not? I mean, he's doing the winning that they're asking him to do. Now, again, I would give more credit to Sean Payton, who's putting his entire team in a position to win.
Also, their defense is
incredible.
It's like the Rams. It's really stacked.
And they have a lot of weapons for Taysom Hill as well. But he deserves credit. Like, he's going out there and getting the wins.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was not sure what to expect. So I'm impressed. This weekend's game is going to be very interesting, though. We're all going to be watching because we want to see what Jalen Hurts does for the Eagles. I mean, obviously, I think the Saints are going to win that game. I just don't think the Eagles have enough. But they have the Chiefs, Vikings, and at the Panthers left on their schedule. So they don't have an easy schedule for the rest of the way. Drew Brees obviously still injured. So I think we may see him against the Chiefs, depending on, if they feel that he's 100%. He was already practicing last week.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that. But either way, Taysom's doing everything that they're asking him to do. And if Drew Brees retires this year, they already paid Taysom. So.
Yeah. Why again.
And Jameis is still on the roster. Maybe you keep him as well.
Yeah.
So Paul George agreed to a 4-year, $190 million max extension with the Clippers. The team proved their commitment to him long term, and he says he feels an obligation to finally get the Clippers an NBA title.
That's what I owe this organization. I love being here. I love the family that I've created in my first year. And this is where I want to be. This is home. Ultimately, this is where my legacy, where I want to leave the biggest imprint on.
Well, in fairness to Paul, because people are going to beat up on Paul for this. They lost Landry Shamet and Montrezl Harrell, and they don't have a true point guard, as Doug Gottlieb has told me before. They don't. There is a scarcity issue. Who's on the market? Like, Paul is still a very good basketball player. I know Paul. Paul's a good dude. He's at the place he wants to play. And there is a reason to believe that he's going to propel you into top seeds in the West going forward with Kawhi. So, again, we can all say he's getting too much money, but you got to have somebody next to Kawhi. And I like Lou Williams, but he's off the bench. They don't have a point guard. They lost 2 really good bench players. I think in the market, this is what you got to pay. If I ran the Clippers, this is what I would pay for Paul George.
Yeah, I mean, it's every team's going to pay somebody. And like
he's a 23-point a game.
You're going to pay him.
He
averaged 21.5 points in the regular season, 5.7 rebounds, 3.9 assists per game.
He defends.
Shoots 43, basically 44% field goal percentage. The problem is you have championship expectations, and he's 41-48 in the playoffs. In Game 7 against the Nuggets, which they never should have gone to in the first place. He had 10 points.
Okay, let me defend him, though. And again, I've criticized him. Giannis hasn't done it in the playoffs. Harden hasn't done it. Westbrook hasn't done it. Paul George is not making what they're making. So, and those people, I'm told, are MVPs. Paul, to me, has always been an A-, B+. I think the criticisms of Paul are fair, but we have a scarcity issue. The Clippers lost a coach, 2 bench players, and don't have a point.
No, they absolutely had to pay him. And I have no problem. I don't care. I'm not paying him.
Right.
Like, I have no problem with anyone making money. Make all the money you can. And you're right. Like, there's not just Paul George is just walking around.
Yeah,
like, he's a great player. Not everyone's a champion. That's just that's really what it is. Like, he can be a great player and not be the key that's going to take them to the next level. To me, it's on Kawhi. Kawhi is the one that's won rings. He's the star.
Yes.
So it's really, to me, the burden of responsibility to bring the Clippers a championship is really on Kawhi, but he needs Paul George to do better than 10 points in Game 7, which they never should have gotten to in the first place.
Yeah. Listen, all these contracts are not ideal. Sometimes you swallow hard as a team and you're like...
But I mean, who else are you going to pay?
Oh, again, it's just like, listen, there's a lot of times in life, in sports, especially the NBA, you got to pay a guy and you know it comes with stuff, right? Yep. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
My friend Doug Gottlieb, the Duggar, he's got a great podcast, by the way, All Ball with Doug Gottlieb on iTunes. And he is joining me now live, brought to you by Mercedes.